You and hello to everyone joining us at the top of one. You're watching Afternoon Prime. A day after a brand new cabinet took oath, all new ministers have now hit the ground running, taking charge and getting down to business. 50% of the new Council of Ministers is new, an attempt to re-energize key sectors in a pandemic-hit era. It's our top story today, and these are the details. The new ministers, part of the Modi cabinet after the unprecedented reshuffle, have started taking charge of their respective ministries. 53 union ministries have been divided amongst 30 cabinet ministers, 45 ministers of state and 2 ministers of state with independent charges. On your screens right now, all the new ministers taking charge early this morning. The first meeting of the new cabinet will be taking place at 5 p.m. today, while the new Council of Ministers will be meeting at 7 p.m. today. We've heard from many of these leaders who are taking charge today. Let's see what they had to say on day one of their job.
You have a law degree. Is that an additional advantage in this position?
I don't want to talk this separately.
No, but is that an advantage? You have a degree in law.
As I said, I have an LLB degree because I passed out from Campus Law Center, Delhi University, and I would love to go back to the Campus Law Center someday, hopefully, and try to meet some of the old staff if they are still serving, or to feel those moments when I was there as a student.
Makes it easy to handle this department, this ministry?
No, I think it's not a correlation. It's a handling of ministry is totally dependent on your commitment and understanding of the subjects.
Chalo. Chale. We have with us Meenakshi Lekhi, who's the Minister of State for External Affairs. First of all, ma'am, many congratulations to you. And what do you have to say on this occasion?
I wish to convey my thanks and gratitude to the able leadership of Prime Minister Modi, Amit Bhai and Mr. Nadda and the team, rest of the people who were part of the decision making, that they have reposed this faith in me and they think I'm capable of delivering. I will try my best to achieve the needful, and I can assure that every word of my oath will come true, and I stand by it completely.
And what do you see the challenges before you at this moment? Because you're joining in at a very, very tough time, like foreign relations, COVID, and so many things are happening.
So I don't see it that way. What I see is that every work is a challenge. There are challenges, but if you put in the hard work and you have your heart and soul in the right place, you can battle anything out, and for battling anything out, all you need is a focus, and especially now when our country under the able leadership of Prime Minister Modi has done so very well. When you compare the numbers, when you compare the task, when you compare the unachievable targets, we've done it all, and why should we be prey to false propaganda? So false propaganda can only be beaten by truths. I stand for truth in any case, both in my personal life and my professional life.
Were you expecting to be inducted in the when? How did it happen? Like, when did you know?
No idea. No idea. Got a call just yesterday in the morning, and after receiving that call, all that was in the media. If people with experience are to be believed, I would not believe anything that was in the media, because that's not what I trust. And I know sometimes, all kind of rumor mongering happens, all kind of expectations are there. So under those circumstances, to be anyway elated or depressed, both are bad. So stay calm. And I laughingly, when people would approach me and they'd say, how do you feel? Is your heart pounding, etc., etc., I'll say, yeah, I went off to sleep even after giving my board exam on the day of the results. So I'm pretty chilled out. So whatever work destiny has for me, I will try my best to achieve that.
Thank you so much. We wish you luck, ma'am. So that was Meenakshi Lekhi, the MOS External Affairs, with camera person Vikas Rawat. Arun Dhanta, CNN News 18.
That was Arun speaking to Meenakshi Lekhi, MP from Delhi, now the new MOS for MEA and Culture. One of the most articulate voices in the BJP, also a trained lawyer. Our entire team of reporters is out there getting you every voice that that has taken over office today. Almost half the new cabinet is going to be new. So our reporters on the ground for the moment. Joining me is our political editor, Maria Shakil. Also with us, our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, who is joining us. Maria, we've heard Meenakshi Lekhi there, a trained lawyer, one of the BJP's most articulate voices, the MOS of MEA and culture. Now it's interesting what she told Arun Danta there, that till yesterday morning, I had no idea. So till yesterday morning, none of the newbies who were being inducted had an idea that they were being inducted.
I won't say none of the newbies, but these are MPs who are in Delhi, based out of Delhi. So that is the reason why perhaps Meenakshi Lekhi would have got a call yesterday. But others who were outside Delhi, like say Jyotiraditya Scindia or Mr. Narayan Rane, or even others like Sarbanan Sonowal, they were informed that they have to come to Delhi because there will be a swearing-in ceremony that will be happening yesterday. So that is the distinction, Shreya. But having said that, yes, 50% of the Council of Ministers are new faces, and there is a high percentage of young voices. And the fact that you have a young INB minister in, Anurag Thakur, Member of Parliament from Himachal, a young civil aviation minister in Jyotiraditya Scindia, Manuskh Mandavia, a very important leader from the state of Gujarat, is now the health, chemical and fertilizers minister, is an indication of how the government is viewing, particularly the Prime Minister, whether this is not just a rejig, this is an overhaul. A complete new team has taken over just ahead of the elections 3 years from now. But talking specifically, Shreya, as we look at the new entrants and, those who have had their cabinet portfolios changed, they take charge in various ministries. Another aspect is that how did the exits happen? Because, roughly around 8 or 9 of them we knew about it, and till 4 p.m. we were flashing those news yesterday. But it's only after the formal communication came from the President's office that we came to know about Ravi Shankar Prasad, a minister who was holding 3 portfolios, Shreya, and Prakash Javadekar, a senior minister with 2 key portfolios being dropped. So they got a call from JP Nadda, BJP President sources are saying, and they were told that you'll have to put in their papers. And that is the communication that went to all 12 exits, that in the morning that you'll have to put in your papers and be perhaps prepared for some role within the party. What will that be? We'll have to wait and see how things unravel. But certainly, as we look at the new team of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, let's not forget that many will be also seeing this as course correction on multiple fronts, be it course correction on the COVID management, and that is the reason why Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan being dropped, course correction also on the education policy front, and that is the reason why you have both the minister and the MOS being dropped, and also the message that is coming that the entire communication aspect of the government also needs a rejig. That is the reason why Prakash Javadekar was dropped. So that is, when we look at the newbies, the new entrants, let's not forget that there are several veterans who have been dropped as well.
Correct. And I want to pursue this entire thread about Ravi Shankar Prasad, but do stay on with us. Pallavi Ghosh is joining us as well. Pallavi, the Prime Minister will be meeting his Council of Ministers later this evening. What is he likely to tell them, given the fact that 50% of them are new and take over their ministries at a very challenging time?
Yes, I think the Prime Minister also gave a brief when he met them yesterday before the swearing-in ceremony, and the fact that he's holding a cabinet meeting, the first one of the new team, the message is going to be the same as the message which has gone in their induction, that we have to get down to business. There's no time to waste. Post-COVID wave 2, perhaps we are staring at wave 3, hopefully not. The challenges before the government are many. One is to give a sense of reassurance to the people that all will be well soon, so don't be worried. I think the immediate challenge, of course, is economic recovery, because that's what everyone is worried about, and that's something which affects all of us in terms of employment, in terms of, even for the corporate sector, these are the main factors. But just a finance ministry on its own cannot do enough. It has to work in tandem with other ministries. Very quickly, I can give the example, for example, the need for the finance ministry and the labor ministry to work together. They have been, because the concern is about job cuts, the concern is about people losing their jobs, and of course those are migrant laborers who are actually the backbone of our economy, so to say, and the first ones really to be effective and also apprehensive of any lockdown which takes place. In the past too, they have been working together, now even more so. That's going to be one brief. The second, of course, is sectors which actually push up growth. That surge which comes in, the green shooting, as they say, comes in. the civil aviation. Of course, because of the fear factor, the footfalls have gone down. They are picking up. Of course, if you go in for the recent civil aviation statistics, that's going to be a big challenge. The Air India selling dream, that is something also which has to be stepped up. Domestic airlines have their own concerns. Their profits have gone down. Taxation is high. Aviation fuel prices are also jacked up, all of which has an impact on it. I think, Jyotiraditya Scindia will be expected to use his mettle, his past experience as a commerce minister, and also to turn around somewhat he did when he was a power minister under UPA. That is the challenge. I think these are the points which will essentially go in from the Prime Minister in the cabinet meeting. That quick decisions will have to be taken in line, in sync, and it's all that matters really is to assure the people of India that this government really means business.
Pallavi and Maria, I'm going to request both of you to stay with us because we are hearing from more new ministers. Let's quickly listen into them. I'm coming right back to you after that.
सूचना प्रसारण मंत्रालय के माध्यम से हम कैसे और जन जन तक पहुंच पाएं और क्या-क्या काम जो पीछे मुझसे पूर्व बहुत बड़े
He has a great vision. That vision, my responsibility is to.
And as far as many things are going on as far as with Twitter and in railway ministry, there's so many things which is there for working. How do you plan your way ahead?
Fundamentally, our government is always concerned about Antyodaya. Hamari philosophy Antyodaya ki. The person sitting at the last point of the society, that person's life, if we are able to change, transform, then we have succeeded. So हमारा इन तीनों की तीनों मंत्रालय में एक साधारण से साधारण परिवार, गरीब परिवार, वंचित परिवार, ग्रामीण परिवार, आदिवासी परिवार, वनवासी परिवार, उन सब की जिंदगी में क्या चेंज ला सकते हैं हम, इन सब ये सब माध्यम है. मंत्रालय तो एक माध्यम होता है. समाज के अंतिम छोर पे बैठे व्यक्ति की जिंदगी को कैसे बदले, वो हमारा एम है.
सर, आपने एक्सटेंसिवली काम किया, ब्यूरोक्रेट आप रहे हैं, प्राइवेट सेक्टर में काम किया है, वॉटन से आपने MBA किया है, IIT कानपुर में रहे हैं. ये तमाम चीजें कैसे हेल्प करेंगी आपको?
जिंदगी में अगर संस्कार अच्छे हो तो सब चीज़ें इम्पोर्टेंट होती है. तो मुझे इस चीज़ का है गर्व है कि राष्ट्रवादी विचारधारा आपने जो संस्कार है अच्छे, राष्ट्र को पहले रखने का संस्कार है, वो संस्कार है, वो सबसे जरूरी है.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. That was Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav talking to CNN News 18. With camera person Vikas Rawat, Arun Dhanta for CNN News 18.
The new IT minister of this country, also the new railway minister. As IT minister, he has his stars cut out of him. He's saying the law of the land is supreme. Essentially, his first comment on the government of India's running battle with Twitter, which is now in court. Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav is from Odisha. He is an IIT graduate. He's someone he's got a business degree from Wharton. At one point of time, he was an IAS officer, then a bureaucrat, then he was an entrepreneur as well. And what the BJP is seeing is the rise of Ashwini Vaishnav. Maria, would you want to come in here? This is someone I'm fairly certain that many of our viewers would not have heard or seen before, but he's been given very important ministries in the limelight right now.
Absolutely. Yes, and technically he's number 5 if you look at it, Shreya. During the UPA days, regional satraps used to head Rail Bhavan in the national capital. From Nitish Kumar, we also saw, in Mr. Vajpayee's cabinet, you saw Lalu Yadav head the railways ministry. Mamata Banerjee was the railways minister. So it is a heavyweight portfolio. And railways ministry being clubbed with IT and communication is a message coming also from the Prime Minister of complete synergy that is needed on that front. Now Ashwini Vaishnav, we did see him very active during the recent Bengal elections, Shreya, as well. So he was involved in the management in terms of backside largely, backroom boy, involved in the election commission getting the paperwork done for some legal battles that the BJP was involved in. But he is someone that I was speaking to a source in the government who said who has his ideology right. He has a deep faith in as far as the ideological leanings of the party is concerned. And again, he has been part of the Prime Minister's office of Atal Bihari Vajpayee as well. Besides the experience that you talked about, it becomes crucial at this time because the government is looking at a public-private partnership to do with railways. They are looking at ensuring that the railway stations, be it certain running of the trains, would also have certain private players getting involved in it. And that is the reason why his role becomes crucial, because he has had that kind of background and having functioned with multiple corporates as well. But I would also read this as some kind of sending of a message that the BJP is looking at catchment areas in 2024, Shreya. Because in 2019, we did see the party make surprise gains in the state of Odisha and also in the state of Bengal. That is the reason why both of these states have increased representation in the new Council of Ministers. Bengal getting 4 in all, and this time, along with Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, there are 3 MPs from 3 ministers now from the state of Odisha.
So he's from the state of Odisha as well. Mara, do stay on with us. Arun Dhanta is the one who's got that interview with Mr. Vaishnav. Arun, you've got that interview, and in a sense, a first reaction from the new IT Mantri on the running feud that the government has had with Twitter.
Well, Shreya, I couldn't get your question properly, but as far as Mr. Vaishnav is concerned, in fact, we spoke to him yesterday and today as well, so he's very, very confident and ready to bring all his knowledge and expertise that he has when he worked as an IAS officer and when he worked with private sector, and in fact, many other things which he has done, so he's going to imply all those things in his working. And remember that all crucial railway ministry which requires, advancement in technology and many other things to actually, bring back railway, as they call the backbone of the country. So, and also along with the information and technology ministry, which is very, very important. We all know that how government is at the loggerhead with the social media giant Twitter. So there are so many challenges which is cut out for the minister at this moment, but he seems to be very, very confident at this. And now we'll have to see that how he uses all his experience in the ministries to take this government's initiative forward. But yes, we can say one thing, that all the ministers whom we have spoken to, as this team seems to be a very young team, are saying that they have this vision which has been given to them by the Prime Minister Modi, and accordingly they'll work on that, will give their heart and soul to it. So this is the sense which we are taking from every minister that we are seeing. But time will tell that how they perform as far as their ministers are concerned, because Prime Minister Modi has made it very clear when he made this reshuffle that only those people who are performers will be able to sustain in the government.
And Zeba, you're joining us. Thank you very much. Zeba, you're joining us from outside the Rajiv Gandhi Bhavan in the national capital. A change of guard in the aviation ministry and an interesting pick.
Well, certainly an interesting pick, and Jyotiraditya Scindia will also be following in on his father's footsteps, because remember, Madhavraj Scindia has also been an aviation minister in the P.V. Narasimha Rao government. In fact, in 1992, it was Madhavraj Scindia as aviation minister when the aviation sector opened up to the private players. And now, when Jyotiraditya Scindia steps in, he is looking at a possible privatization of Air India. So there are parallels to be drawn. But we have been tracking him since yesterday, Shreya. Jyotiraditya Scindia has not spoken to the media. He's not really given us an interview or really spoken about what he plans to do with the aviation sector, considering that the aviation sector is going through one of the toughest times. It is one of the worst phases for domestic civil aviation operations in India. We are down to 60% flight capacity. There is a disinvestment of Air India, which is also in the fray for quite some time now. The revival of Jet Airways is another aspect which is going to be crucial, which will be overlooked by the new Minister of Civil Aviation, Jyotiraditya Scindia. So some really important, challenging tasks ahead of him. I'm at the Rajiv Gandhi Bhavan, and sources from the Ministry of Civil Aviation tell us that there's no schedule that's been fixed as of now as to when the new minister will come and take charge of his office. So whether it's happening today or whether it is going to happen tomorrow, we don't have a confirmation on that as yet. But certainly Jyotiraditya Scindia will be perhaps bringing in some dynamism. That is what industry experts tell me. I have been in touch with some people from different airlines, domestic airlines, Airport Authority of India, and the sentiment is that there's going to be a young, fresh person coming in, a fresh outlook at a time when the sector needs that sort of prioritizing. So certainly there are hopes that Jyotiraditya Scindia would help in the revival of Indian aviation in a post-pandemic world.
Well, that is the hope. Zeba, do stay on with us. I'm going to request Arun to stay with us as well, hearing from more new ministers. Let's quickly listen in.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने मुझे स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय की जिम्मेवारी दी गई है। स्वास्थ्य मंत्री के रूप में प्रधानमंत्री जी की अपेक्षा के अनुसार मैं काम करने की कोशिश करूंगा।
सर, टूरिज्म मिनिस्ट्री एक बड़ी चुनौती है क्योंकि कोरोना वायरस के बाद सब लोग ऐसे स्पॉट पे जा रहे हैं जहां टूरिज्म बहुत ज्यादा है। कैसे सर इसको कैसे?
एक बार हमारा डिपार्टमेंट के अधिकारियों से, हमारा मंत्री जी से बात करने के बाद हम जो प्रधानमंत्री जी आदेश पर जो भी होगा देश के हित के लिए, टूरिज्म इम्पोर्टेंट बढ़ाने के लिए जरूर करेंगे।
लेकिन सर, जिस तरह से लोग जा रहे हैं टूरिस्ट स्पॉट पे, ये कोरोना के लिए खतरा नहीं है?
नहीं, बिल्कुल, एक बार रिव्यू करने के बाद बताऊंगा।
What are the works that you've done which you see has become, the PowerPoint for your promotion in this reshuffle?
No, it was an assessment made by the Prime Minister, and I thank the Prime Minister for the faith which he has reposed in me again for the third time, and I will live up to that. Now I have three priorities. One, of course, is, as I said, availability of power in rural areas has to go up to 24 hours. So any gaps in the distribution system has to be strengthened. I'll be working with the states for that. Then the second is modernization, as I said, make it future ready. The third is the farmer.
ये बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी दी है आपको सरकार ने, मोदी जी ने, तो आपको लगता है कि आप किस तरह इसको हैंडल करेंगे और आपकी प्राथमिकता क्या रहेगी, प्रायोरिटीज क्या रहेंगी?
सड़क देना ये प्रायोरिटी है। जो सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप है, महिलाओं की ताकत, और एक आंकड़े आया है कि अगर महिलाओं को हम आधी आबादी को रोजगार दे दें तो जीडीपी में लगभग 2% की बढ़ोतरी होगी। तो ये सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप के माध्यम से तो कई चुनौतियां हैं, कनेक्टिविटी हो, डेवलपमेंट हो, रोजगार हो, आय हो, ये सब एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं।
अश्विनी जी, क्या प्राथमिकता रहेगी, किस तरह से कायाकल्प करेंगे?
हम एक एक करके लेंगे, करो ना आराम से, हमें सारा ढंग से चाहिए सर, अच्छे से रख लो,
अच्छे से
ऑर्गेनाइज कर लो।
सर, बड़ी जिम्मेदारी गई है रेलवे आईटी कम्युनिकेशन, किस तरह से देखते हैं? खासकर आपका प्रोफाइल देखें हम तो बड़ा ही इम्प्रेसिव है, तो क्या उम्मीदें की जाए?
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को मैं बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं, उन्होंने इतना बड़ा आशीर्वाद दिया है, इतनी बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है देश की सेवा करने की, इसके लिए उनका मैं बहुत आभारी हूं, बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूं। इससे बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी मेरे क्षमता से जितना काम होगा उतना मैं करूंगा।
सर, आईटी मिनिस्टर के सामने सबसे बड़ा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट था ट्विटर के साथ जो पैट चल रहा है,
उसको लेकर कैसे निपटारा करेंगे? क्या लाइन रहेगी?
आईटी गाइडलाइंस को मानेगा कि जो विवाद चल रहा है उस पर?
आपके सारे के सारे प्रश्न, उन्हीं प्रश्नों में आपका जवाब है। जो आप प्रश्न पूछ रहे हैं उन्हीं प्रश्नों में उसका जवाब है।
सर, आप जवाब बता दीजिए।
आप बता दीजिए।
मैं आपके साथ डिटेल में बैठूंगा, डिटेल में बैठ के आपके साथ चर्चा करूंगा।
कब तक ट्विटर वाला कब तक फॉलो करेंगे, क्योंकि वो कानून वो बार बार फॉलो नहीं कर रहे हैं?
देश के कानून के साथ सभी को उसका पालन करना चाहिए। जो देश का कानून है, देश का कानून सबको पालन करना चाहिए।
लेकिन डेडलाइन तो निकल के तब भी नहीं कर रहे हैं वो। ठीक है, एक मिनट, कहाँ गए? रेल मंत्री और आईटी संचार मंत्री अश्विनी वैष्णव जी, क्या प्राथमिकता रहेंगी आपकी? रेल को लेकर भी काफी समस्याएं देश में रहती हैं।
मैं आपके साथ बैठूंगा डिटेल में,
लेकिन देश की जनता को तो
All right, Ashwini Vaishnav there, the new IT minister of the country, also the new railway minister of the country, making it very clear that if Twitter thought that a change in the Mantralaya will have an impact on their lives, Arunima, it's certainly not happening.
Yes, in this government, the Prime Minister and the top three in the government have made it very clear that this is not an area where there are divergence of views. They all meet up, they all decide on what way the government is going to take forward, and that is what is reflective. There is no, the right side doesn't know what the left side is doing kind of scenario here. So the new minister is absolutely right when he says that there will be continuity as far as Government of India's policies are concerned. There are already IT ministry rules that have to be followed, and and I don't see any change in the position. You could see more hardening of stance, but if Twitter was expecting any kind of relief, I don't see that happening. And that's the message from almost all of the ministries that I've gone around to. All the new ministers are very clear that there will be continuity, be it in law, be it here at home, where G. Kishan Reddy has handed over charge to the two new ministers of state. He himself has taken over at the tourism, culture and donor ministry. So continuity definitely there, and I think the Prime Minister is going to underline that when he meets his council at about 5 o'clock this evening.
Arunima, here's the thing. We have a new IT minister, yes, and there have been 12 big drops, right? We understand someone like Dr. Harsh Vardhan, we understand someone like Dr. Pokhriyal, but Ravi Shankar Prasad, Prakash Javadekar, what went wrong?
See, actually, why the Prime Minister decided to get new faces in these ministries, I think the exact reasoning we will never know. But there are speculations around the corner that the Prime Minister wanted to inject a new energy in these ministries. Look at Kiran Rijiju. Yes, he's a law degree holder, but he's not really invested in the legal system so much as Ravi Shankar Prasad. He was a practicing lawyer. His family also has a lot of lawyers there. So in that sense, Rijiju is a different kind of professional profile than Ravi Shankar Prasad. So perhaps the idea is that out-of-the-box solutions would come from people who are not invested in the system so much. Same with Dr. Harsh Vardhan. He was a doctor, so it was thought that as a medical professional he would perhaps understand the nitty-gritties of how to make the health ministry function best. But the COVID pandemic saw the government come in for a lot of criticism. The second wave, especially, the government faced a lot of criticism, and even now the opposition is not letting go of the opportunity of saying that this is an acknowledgement from the government that handling was bad. But the government's rebuttal is that we acknowledge a problem and we look for a solution. And this is the solution that we have seen. Manuskh Mandavia did exceptionally well in the procurement of critical medicines like Remdesivir. His ministry, his erstwhile ministry, has now been merged with health, and he's been given joint responsibility. It's a big challenge that the Prime Minister has thrown at him, and he's expecting him to meet up to the challenge.
And there are 16 new MPs, first-time MPs who've made it to Prime Minister Modi's team. That is pretty cool, I would think. Arunima, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Hearing from some more new ministers. Let's quickly listen in.
किसान को समाधान करने के लिए, किसान को अच्छे करने के लिए क्या सोचना है वो मैं स्टडी करूंगी. पूरे देश में किसान को अच्छे करने को कोशिश करूंगी.
तो किस तरह से, क्या आपको लगता है जो किसान आंदोलन भी देश में चल रहा है, क्या उनका धरना प्रदर्शन खत्म होगा?
होना ही चाहिए, क्योंकि किसान को समझाना चाहिए. हम किसान का भला के लिए एक कानून लाया है. ये किसान का नाम पे कोई दूसरे व्यक्ति उधर धरना कर रहे हैं तो उसको समझाने का जरूरत तो नहीं है, क्योंकि वो सुनते नहीं है. वैसे ये पूरा पॉलिटिकली है, पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड है. पूरा बाहर से भी मोटिवेट हो सकता है, इसीलिए किसान को समझाना हमारा काम है.
तो क्या आप उन लोगों को बुलाओगे मीटिंग के लिए?
हम पूरे देश में हर स्टेट में जाके ये किसान का भला ही क्या है वो बस बताएंगे.
जिस तरह से कोरोना में आयुष का भी रोल रहा है, उसको आप किस तरह से देखते हैं कि आयुष मंत्रालय का किस तरह से और विकास हो सकता है?
आयुष मंत्रालय ने कोरोना के वक्त में अपनी जड़ी बूटियाँ का उकाड़ा बना के और होम्योपैथिक टैबलेट का वितरण करके, योगा का सब नॉलेज देके कोरोना के बारे में काफ़ी हेल्प हमको की. उसके डॉक्टर्स लोगों ने भी हमको बहुत हेल्प की है. तो अभी हम आयुष के बारे में जितना उसका प्रचार बढ़े उसका पूरा प्रयत्न हम करेंगे.
आप केंद्रीय गृह राज्य मंत्री बन रहे हैं, तो कानून व्यवस्था को लेकर क्या प्राथमिकता रहेंगी? कोई उत्तर प्रदेश में भी इस तरह कुछ नया रोड मैप रहेगा?
तो 4.5 साल में हमने बहुत परिवर्तन किया है और कानून व्यवस्था पूरी तरह से ठीक है. पिछले 7 वर्ष में जिस तरह से आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष रहे अमित शाह जी, अब राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष नड्डा जी, सभी लोगों ने बहुत बेहतरीन काम किया है. उसके परिणाम आज पूरे देश नहीं पूरी दुनिया देख रही है.
With that, we are slipping into a quick break on the show. But before we go, here's something that could interest you. The countdown to the Tokyo Olympics has begun. And as our medal hopefuls get ready for glory, you too have a chance to shine. If you think you know your Olympics, then log on to news18.com, Olympic quiz, and take a 2-minute quiz. 10 Team India jerseys will be given to the winners every day. So try your luck. Best of luck. A quick break. Much more coming